Well, hello from a sunny Glencoe. Now, on today's vlog, I'm going to show you the best scenic view, not just in Scotland, but in the whole of Britain. And the reason being is because of this. So it's early September now and it is just starting to look amazing. The glen just starts to go. The bracken is just a hint of brown, but you've still got those pinks of the heather, and the textures in the landscape start to get a bit of variety. Over the summer it's just pure green everywhere, but now we're getting some colours and it's looking amazing. Now, you might be a bit sceptical of watching this video going, that's clickbait. He's telling me this is the best view in the whole of Britain. Well, I personally believe it is. And so what the plan is going to be is I'm going to head up to this mountain here, this very boring and unopposing mountain. It's called Ben Acrolashty, and it even stands for really dullness. It's just a rocky hill. That's what it stands for. So it's really boring, but it's not boring from the top, because you do get the most stunning view in the whole of the UK, and that is looking over the Buckle here. So the plan of attack is going to be, I'm going to head up to the top of that mountain there, carrying all my kit. It's late afternoon. I've probably got about another 2 hours for sunset, but I'm not too bothered about sunset because the weather conditions are not too great. You can see there's a lot of blue sky knocking about. But what I want to try and do is maybe do a little bit of astrophotography. With clear skies, I should get some nice shots, and maybe the light trails going up the road, up the A82. So that's what I'm going for. And then, believe it or not, I brought all my rucksack and my camping kit, and we're going to stay the night over here, and then hopefully we might get a decent sunrise in the morning. Okay, let's carry on. I'm carrying a lot of kit and I've got to get it up there, so it's going to take me a bit of a while. So let's move on. Okay, so I'm getting closer to the top. The thing is with Ben Acrolashty is it's quite a flat mountain, so you get this steep rise and then it's this flat mountain that you have to go, and it's got more false peaks than a well-known Birmingham crime drama. But I'm getting there now, I think. Now, I've got to be careful because I've been here a few times, and what I want is I want the Buckle, but I want that view looking down Glencoe as well. And the problem is if I'm too far over, if I've not gone far enough towards sort of the King's house, then I'm not really going to get it all in, and I could do a panoramic, but I kind of like it all in one shot if I could. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep heading sort of down the face of it. I don't really want to get on the top, because when you get on the top, because it's so flat, it overlaps everything, you can't actually see the view. So I'm not going to get right to the top. I've got a bit of a craggy mound here, which I kind of need to get out the shot. So I'm thinking perhaps just a bit over that way towards the ski centre, and hopefully that big nully sort of crag will be out the way. Okay, let's carry on and see if we can find a good composition and a good campsite. it just gets better and better, it really does. I mean, look at this business, it is so amazing the higher you get. Now I'm in a bit of a quandary because I've come over that little ridge and I can actually see the top a good way off in the distance now. It's actually a bit of a way, but in terms of elevation it's not too high. The problem is I don't want to get over there, because if I get over there I'm going to get overlapped by all this crags and stuff, and I want that lovely S-bend coming down, maybe with a few light trails in the cars going into Glencoe. I'd like a bit more elevation, but I think I'm going to have to sacrifice height to get in a right position so I can see that beautiful S shape of the A82 and also the River Couple coming around the bottom up to Lagangarb Cottage. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to head on down this way and just trying to find a good composition around there rather than going right up the top. And if I sneak around, the further I get, I'll just stop until I kind of lose the view and get some more overlap. Okay, here we go. Well, I mean, the scenery is absolutely spectacular, it really is. And just add salt to my wounds. I'm this dribbling a wreck of a middle-aged man trying to get up here. And then I get over the top and this 2-year-old girl is wandering around with a family. And I'm thinking, oh my crikey, what's wrong with me? Just add salt to the wounds. Anyway, I'm at the top here. Now what I've done is, I did go all the way over to nearly the summit. And I was just kept looking back and I couldn't see this beautiful S-bend in the A82 and the River Couple. I couldn't see it, it was overlapped by all these crags that could have outcropped across the view. So what I've done is I've gone all the way over there and I've come all the way picking back. And I kind of would like to be a bit further around with the buckle, so I'm looking down the glen, but I just feel it's just not going to work for me. So I've come back here where I can see everything, and I might end up doing a panoramic and stitch this all together or something like that. But it's definitely going to work for me. It's a lot better than where I was over there. I've got a nice sheltered spot for the tent, so I'm going to get the tent up and let's get cosy. So while I wait for the sun to set, I've had my chicken tikka, absolutely delicious, cup of coffee, job's a good one. And now I'm just sitting here just alone, and it's just magic, it really is, truly magic. I am so lucky to live here, and it is, and the reason why I say this is the best location, the best view in Great Britain is, it is iconic, it is stunning. Many people know where it is. The Buckle, the Three Sisters of Glencoe, you all kind of know these locations, they're world famous. But when have you ever been to an iconic landscape like this and been able to sit here with nobody else here? I'm just completely alone, there's no one here, total silence. I can occasionally hear the odd car going up the road, but that's really it. All I can hear is the wind, and it's so relaxing and just very humbling, I suppose, really. And that's what makes it the best location in Great Britain, because places like the Kerrang, Northumberland, Cornwall, the Lake, Snowdon are fantastic. But it's very rare to get an iconic landscape like this, which everybody is familiar with, and yet just be here on your own. And that's in the UK quite rare nowadays to do that. So it is so magic, and the reason being is you have to walk up a little bit and put a bit of effort in, but by doing that, boy do you get some rewards. It's absolutely out of this world and so humbling. So I've had a bit of rest. It's about a couple of hours later. It's about 11:30 now, and I'm back over this bit of a dodgy drop down in front of me looking over the buckle, but I've still got that lovely S-bend, and it's a fine line because I need to time it. If I go too late, then the traffic's going to stop, and I'm not going to get those lovely sort of car light trails, which is what I'm looking for. Now, the problem with astrophotography, and I'm sure some of you have done a lot of astrophotography, it's really quite tricky sometimes, and the reason being is you've got to crank your ISO up a little bit, and if you go too high, then you start getting all this graininess. But then if you go too low, you have quite slower shutter speeds, which normally would be fine. But if you go over like sort of 20-30 seconds, and if you do like a 2-minute exposure or something like that, then what happens is you get this horrible sort of, as the Earth's rotation moves, the stars all start blurring and you don't get a nice crisp star. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to time blend this a little bit. So I'm going to take quite a fast shutter speed with a relatively high ISO, about 400, 500, something like that. And what that'll give me is something like a 10-second shot, and that will get the sky. So I'm going to get a 10-second shot for the sky, and that should give me some nice crisp stars, which is what I like. But then what I'm going to have to do is then do another shot and do a really slow shot. So I'm probably going to do a 2-minute or a 3-minute exposure, and that'll get me enough light on the buckle to sort of shine it up a little and see some detail in there. And also I'll see the light trails as they're coming around that lovely S-bend here. So it's a case of finding the right time, and the thing is I don't want to leave it too late. So if I leave it till sort of 1-2 o'clock in the morning, the problem is there's going to be no traffic, so then it's going to be really hard to get the trails. And also the moon is coming up behind me, so I don't mind it coming up a little bit because it's going to illuminate the buckle a little bit. But if it comes around a bit more, then what's going to happen is it's going to start getting into the shot, and then I really am going to start having problems with light pollution from the moon. Now, fortunately, what I really would love is the centre of the galaxy. Just getting that in, and it'd look amazing if I could get that. And I've seen shots of that, but the trouble is it's early September, and actually you don't really see the galaxy centre just yet this time of year, so I need to wait a few more weeks before it really pops up. I can get it, and it does just sneak over the horizon, but that's when the moon is out, so it just obliterates it, I'm afraid. But there is still plenty of interest in the sky and still plenty of stars to keep it a good photograph. So I never would have thought it, but I'm going to have to chase the light at midnight. And the reason being is I've got the moon behind me, and at this time of the month, it's about 3/4 full moon. So it's giving me plenty of light, which is really nice. And what it's doing is it's coming over from east to west, so it's heading out at east here, and it's just lining up, really getting close to sort of a southeast northwest direction, and that's going to be the same orientation of the Glen. So it's lining up, lighting up that buckle, which is fantastic. And the only thing is it's just slightly behind me at the moment, so I've got the shadow of Ben Acrolasti here, so I'm going to have to wait about an hour or so, let it come round a little bit further, because what I really want is the whole of the Glen in just uniform light and not with any shadows on it. So there we go, chasing the light at midnight. Well, I'm actually quite pleased with that one. I think what I'm going to do is I've got a couple of shots here. So I've got that really fast shutter speed for the stars, and then I got a really slow shutter speed. I was very lucky because there was a line of traffic. Somebody at the front must have been driving really annoying, and everybody else must have got really frustrated. But it was good for me because what that meant is I got this lovely line of traffic all the way through. And I managed to get a 2-minute exposure, and it sort of, I had light all the way along the road, so you could really see that little S bend in the road there, which was fantastic. Okay, I'm going to blend these two together, and if this shot works, here's the shot. Well, good morning. good to see you. I didn't sleep too bad last night actually. The wind died because it was really windy when I first started, and the wind died. I had a lovely night's sleep, woke up a bit. But I stuck my head out the window this morning to try and get sunrise. It's not quite there yet, but as you can see, I'm kind of basking in cloud. It's got better, and every now and then the buckle's top comes out, so I'm hoping we're going to get a little bit of a cloud on the top that's going to go absolutely beautifully pink, and some lovely sunrise colours. So let's sit here. It's a bit of a waiting game now, but I've got myself a brew, so I'm happy as, and I've got myself a good composition. I'm probably going to end up back where I was last night doing the old astrophotography. We'll get down there and I'll have a look, and it's a kind of a waiting game. It's a risk between too much cloud and not enough light, but it's coming in now. It's about just after 6 in the morning, about 6:30. So any minute now it should start going golden if we can get that top out, so fingers crossed. Well, the cloud's not lifting off the top, which is a bit of a pain, it really is. So I think what I'm going to have to do is just shift around, because the light is coming along this way and it's just lighting up the glen all the way along. I'd like to see a bit more of the Three Sisters if I could, but the clouds are lovely illuminated, so I'm quite pleased with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and compose a shot with the S-bend of the A82, and that'll give me a nice leading line all the way down the glen to give me some depth to this photograph. But it's quite nice. I definitely would need a little bit more cloud. It's teasing me because I look up high and I can see blue sky, and there's a little band around the top of the mountain, and it's not even poking out. So if it could poke out, that'd be fantastic, but it's not doing it. So I'm going to change my composition a bit and just spin around and look down Glencoe. Well, she's teasing me now, isn't she? I was packing the tent up, and then I just glanced over to the view, and there's the buckle, top of the buckle sticking out the top of the cloud. So I've come running back down here with my camera and got back into the good composition. And of course, by the time I'm here, it's gone back in cloud again. And you know what it's like when you're trying to watch a little bit of bank of cloud on the top of a mountain. It just seems to keep reappearing rather than blowing away. So I am going to wait a little bit here, because there might be something decent here. So I'm just going to wait. I've got plenty of time, so maybe another half an hour or something. I might just wait. So it's a great view now with the light just come up. It's an absolute stunning view. So there is the buckle there. That's the ridge of buckle anyway, Buckle Moor. And then if you come over, you've got the wee buckle over here, which is just poking out of cloud. And there is the Three Sisters just coming down there at Glencoe. Just at the top is Stop Quarry and Locken, and then you can just in cloud, can't quite see it. You can see Bidian there, which is the big beauty around here. But yeah, it's just looking great, Glen. As you come further on down, that's the start. There's Stovvik Vartan there, and then you just kind of head off on the Anakiga Ridge all the way down the glen. And just in the distance, you might not be able to see it, is Loch Actriocton, which is a great loch and a great location. So check out a couple of my videos. I'll show you a link at the description at the top for when I walked around the loch there. But what a view in the morning. I mean, this is just amazing stuff, isn't it? You can't get any better than that. As you pan on around, there's the wee buckle, and then there's the big beast. Come on, stick your head out. Stop hiding away from me. So I think that's that composition I'm going to take. I'm going to focus stack, so I might put some of these heathers in here, this close stuff, and then work my way down, maybe focus stack on Lagangarb Cottage over here, and then get down a little bit. Okay, I'm quite pleased with this shot, so if this shot works, here's the image. Wow, that was great. I'm really happy with that shot. It worked out in the end. teased me a couple of times, but yeah, well worth the effort, and I'm glad I stayed. Now, I'm going to head on back down now, but just to say thank you so much for watching. It really is much appreciated. And if you can do me a favour, you can just pop on down to the bottom of the page and click on the thumb. It does make a real big difference to these channels. And if you want to write a comment, am I correct? Is this the best view in the UK? Comment below if you know anywhere that's better. More than welcome to listen to, and I'll probably go and see if I can shoot that as well. But thank you so much for watching, it really is appreciated. Now, I should plug my tours. I've been running landscape photography tours for about 13 years now in Glencoe, so I do know Glencoe very well. So if you're ever in the area and you feel like you want to do a trip with me, check out my website. And the good thing is it's all one-to-one, it's bespoke, so you book it at your sort of time, and we go around, and it's so flexible. We can do what you want, and we can do lots of locations, or we can just do the odd one or two. Depends how you want to run it for the day. So check out my website for that. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.